rhythm and the rhyme as we get down to the beat down. That's right, it's fight night all week long, and we're catching up with all the great fighters and all the great gyms that are putting on some great promotions this weekend. This is the Logan Summit Show, and I am indeed Logan Summit, and this show is brought to you by Newer. Go over to newer.com, use code Logan if you're a pro creator, amateur creator. It doesn't matter what type of creator you are. Pro gear, amateur pricing. Go to newer.com, use code Logan to save 20% off. You'll be able to find that in the comments link below. All right, today we have House of the Best Kept Secrets Boxing Gym, and we have Coach Raymond Diaz.
Oh,
How you doing today, my friend?
doing good. How are you, sir?
I am absolutely fantastic. Now, you find yourself in Lexington, Kentucky today. How is the weather over there today?
It's partly cloudy, but it's really about 70, 80. It's pretty nice outside. It's
Well,
natural right
that's
now.
that's bluegrass country. Were you able to make it over to the Derby?
No, we watched it on TV and stuff.
Well, did you hear about the big controversy at the Derby? The horse that won has announced that they will not be running in the Preakness. Well, let me take that back. I doubt the horse made the announcement, but their team made the announcement that they will not be running in the Preakness. So no Triple Crown, baby. I mean, you're down there in Derby land. Besides fighting, are you all about the horse racing?
Oh, yeah, I love it, man. I love it. I go about every time and bet, or I'm on the phone betting.
You know what? Have you won any bets, or are you losing a lot?
We won. We bet on the Derby the other day. I bet only $1 on the 18 horse and only won $18. But it is what it
Hey,
is.
you still won. Anytime you come up as a winner, you are doing good work over there. All right, Coach. Well, you've got a fight night on May 10th. Why don't you
Yep.
talk a little bit about that and tell us the history behind House of the Best Kept Secrets Boxing Gym, the longest name in any gym history ever.
Well, yeah, this Saturday we have I think this is our fourth show we're having here at the House of Best Kept Secrets. We got a lot of talented fighters. We actually got the number two ranked 10-year-old in USA right now.
Yes,
She's
that
fighting.
is Piper Ramirez, correct me if
Yeah.
I'm wrong. And
Yes,
that is the son of Guillermo Ramirez, your partner in crime over there at the House of Best Kept Secrets.
yes, sir, it is. And she's getting ready for another title fight. This will make her seventh or eighth title fight.
Wow.
Uh, she's in two. She's got two right now in the past 3 months, and then we got two newcomers coming in or making their debuts this weekend too.
Now, Piper is a three-time national champion, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, she is.
That's absolutely amazing. And she's been in the gym since how old?
She's been training for almost 4 years now. Uh, in and out of the gym. She's nonstop, 6 days a week. She's committed. It's not very rare you ever see a 10-year-old that's committed to getting in the ring and training.
Well, a 10-year-old committed to anything is a good, besides video games these days, is actually a really good cause. Yeah, put the video games down, get into a gym. Gyms keep kids off of streets, and keeping kids off of streets keeps them off of drugs. Don't do drugs, kids. They're bad. All
Yeah.
right. So now you mentioned Piper and you mentioned some of the other fighters. Now, over at your gym, do you mostly focus on the youth of America today, or are we feeding all age groups?
Well, I like to focus on. There's two different coaches here. There's me and then Gerald Reed, and I focus more on the kids, trying to get the kids off the streets. Working on discipline, teaching kids respect, leadership, guidance, how to build confidence and stuff. And preparing them for later on down the road. Some of them want to compete. Not everybody wants to compete, so I try to focus on, just teaching them to compete against themselves in the life. Because once you get 18, you're on your own, so you got to figure out what you need to do next. So that's my main focus on. Like I have fighters, but then I try to just focus on the one. I focus on every one of them, and I don't have my favorites, but I try to keep everybody the same guidance, and push them the same way that I do my regular ones.
Well, you mentioned Coach Gerald Reed earlier. Now, Coach Reed has been doing this since 1976. That's before even I was born. Seriously, that's before I was born. So there is a lot of tutelage, a lot of years, a lot of experience in that gym. Can you give me a little bit of your background and Guillermo's background as well?
Guillermo is just a business guy. He just started because his daughter and stuff.
Mhm.
He is an engineer. Works for a company, builds places and stuff. My background, I've had 30. I'm 43 now. Been doing martial arts since I was 4 years old. Havana, Cuba. Started on Miami, Florida. Kickboxing and boxing when I was 4. Uh, Moved to Kentucky when I was 7, and I started teaching martial arts around 27, about 30 years ago. So I really enjoy it. Like I said, I've trained a lot of big schools. I came from Four Seasons Martial Arts. It's one of the first black belts. Michael Don was one of the first black belts here in Kentucky. And I trained under him. Been doing Muay Thai. I focus more here on as Muay Thai instructor. I'm a level 7. And I teach the boxing and kickboxing program here too.
Now, obviously, you're going to go with you need to be well rounded. I get that. Use wrestling as your base, Muay Thai as your striking, and make sure that you're doing your BJJ so that you have your submissions and whatnot. Which of those three do you think is the most important part of the game as you're starting out as a youth?
As a youth, I always tell, especially for female, like for girls, I think that all kids should, female wise, should do jujitsu. The reason why is when God made us more stronger waist up on men, and then women more waist down. So when women, I always tell my class and older groups is when you go to the gym and work out, you see a lot of women, they work from the waist down.
Yeah.
That's what they worry about, their abs and below. We go to the gym, we work for our abs up, you know. So I
Yeah,
always
we
tell them,
tend to skip leg day, don't we?
yeah, we don't like to do leg days a lot, but and like I just tell them, jiu-jitsu is all the way around. So if it would be two things I would pick that will focus on benefit of any of my students would be Muay Thai and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Those are two of the main things. That I always picked. I've been doing jujitsu for 25 years, maybe a little bit longer. Matter of fact, speaking of the champ, here's the champ right here, Piper Ramirez.
Hey,
This
hey,
is Piper.
Piper. Piper, how you doing? Nice shirt. Nice shirt, Piper. Now, do you actually listen to the band, or do you just like the shirt?
I just like the shirt.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's what I figured. Piper, well, I got you here. How excited are you to fight on Saturday night?
I'm really excited.
Now, are you going to win?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, do you want to make any predictions? I know you're young, but we got to get you into it. Do you got any predictions for us on how this is going to end?
I'm gonna win.
I like it. I like it a lot, Viper. That's fantastic. And hopefully this will be another championship for you. I can't wait to see you on Saturday night. Get in there and do your thing. I mean, at 10 years old, being as dedicated and as motivated and as focused as you are, that's a great benefit to you and the team around you. We always say here at the Logan Summit Show, it takes a village to build a fighter. Well, thank you, Piper. And what, Piper? Before now, you come on back, Piper. Before you go, what other matches on Saturday are you looking forward to watching?
I'm looking forward to watch Daniel Vonda, and I'm looking forward to watch Callie Fairchild, Anna L, and I'm excited to watch. Let me think. I have a lot of fights I'm really excited to watch.
All right,
Because I'm excited
one
about
last
the
one
card.
last question before you go. Do you have any sponsors you want to give some props to and say thank you to, or anyone out there that you want to give some love to? Go right ahead.
Shine like a diamond.
All right. No, no love for Dad?
No.
Yeah,
Just
Piper.
kidding, just kidding.
And that is young Piper Ramirez, and she will be fighting on Saturday night, going for another championship. She's got 3 to her name already. What a wonderful young lady. We wish the best of luck to her at grabbing another win. That's awesome. Obviously, she's a lot of fun to have around. She's
Yeah,
got a
she
good.
is. She's a character.
She's got a good head on her shoulders and a good sense of humor. You got to love that. Now, one of the things, Coach, I want you to talk about, it's the mental game for these youngsters.
Yeah.
That's such a big part of the game overall, but more importantly for these kids, because as they're coming up, they're still developing emotionally. So how do you get in there and really help these kids develop the mental mentality that it takes to step in a ring and take a punch?
Well, what I tell them is when they're like, even when they're, I always give them 3 or 4 months before I even let them really spar hard to kind of understand what it takes to get punched in the face. And I always tell them that, anymore on you're in the streets or anything like that, you don't know what's going to go on the outside. A lot of people anymore don't fight fair. You know, back in the day when I fought, we bump chests and we go at it. But now anymore, everybody's scared to fight. So I tell them that they needed to learn how to develop a way of how to protect yourself in situations that they need to. Once they get older, they're going to bond out, away from their parents, or their brother and sister's not going to be there to protect them. So they're going to know how to either dodge a punch or how to block a punch or how to, I don't know, dodge and weave. Like I
Yeah.
tell Piper, you got to be able to have head movement, feet work, all that. You got to know how to play defense to offense.
Like they said in dodgeball, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Well, if you could dodge a wrench, I'm sure you could probably dodge a punch as well.
Right? Yeah.
Now, I'm sure you're not throwing wrenches at kids over there.
No, no, no. Maybe dodgeball, but not a wrench.
Give me one of those big red balls. I'm down there, man. Get me in
Yeah.
there. That'll be a good time. Now, let's talk about the first time one of these young kids has to make that walk to the ring. What's the advice that you give them? Because that's an adrenaline dump for anybody. It doesn't matter how much cardio you've done. If you can't manage your emotions
Make them run.
before you get into the ring or while you're on your way to the ring, you might have lost the fight before you even stepped into the ring. So what's the big piece of advice you give a first time fighter walking out there?
Man, I tell you a lot especially on the first fight. Like I tell them, it's going to be an adrenaline drop. You got to know when you're going to go out there. Like I try to tell them is you got to understand that your adrenaline is going to go sky high. You got to know how to control that. And what I tell them is the main concern is the audience. If you're not used to being around the people, I always tell them to try to block that mental stage out. When they get in there, that it's going to be like they need to focus on. Okay, this is a new person in front of me. This is a sparring match, is what I always tell them. Win or lose, if you're an amateur, you're not losing or you're not winning. You know what I'm saying? I always tell them if you lost a fight, you just learn. You didn't. You lose. You learn. You're not getting paid for it. You're not making money off of it. So it's just a way that you're learning to how to compete against others, which is always good when you're sparring other fighters. That way you're not fighting the same people in your own gym. Because you can do this. You can do it all the time and spar the same people, but then you go to a competition and you get beat up. You're thinking, well, I haven't succeeded. I'm fighting the same people. I feel like I'm not moving forward. So
I heard the round alarm. Tell them to switch. It's time for them to switch. I heard it in the background. It's time for
yeah,
them to
yeah.
switch it up.
Yeah, they're back there. They've got some people in from California that are down
Nice.
here competing with us and stuff that are fighting on our show. So
Oh, that's awesome. So, my next question for you is now dealing with a lot of youth coming in there. Not everybody's going to be a professional fighter. Not everybody's going to be the next John Jones or the next Floyd Mayweather. That's not going to happen. So, what's the one thing that you look for from a kid coming off the streets into the gym that distinguishes them from just, hey, I want to work out, I want to better myself, I just want to be a better person, and hey, I think I can do this professionally.
I always tell them not to consider this, not to come in and say with that kind of personality you want to be a professional. What I like to see is the first thing I say is when you walk through the door, you're a champion. You already you made the first step. Your second step is to get in here and work out and see how you're gonna proceed with it. If you think you can be a champion, You can. I mean, I think a lot of people can be what they want as long as they get in here and give 110% of what they're supposed to do. You know, like I got a son that's 6'3", 245. You know, he played high school football, makes all state twice, 2 years, graduating this year. You know, and had 26 scholarships and decided he didn't want to play no more. So you can't make a lot of kids play. You know, the only thing we can do is make them see, give them enough. You know, give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
You know,
you're just trying to make better people. And boxing and MMA, combat sports. I know years past. Look. I'm 46. I watched my first boxing match when I was in second grade. It was World War II. Hagler against Sugar Ray Leonard, and I've been watching Pancrase and MMA since I was 16, 17 years old. And the fight game has changed, but the one thing that doesn't change is how difficult the fight game truly is.
yeah,
So they need to be ready for it. And the craziest thing about boxing is once you turn 15, all you got to do is pay a couple dollars and you can become a pro.
yeah.
In MMA, it's much harder, but in boxing, you can just go from amateur to pro. So what's the determining factor that you look for in an amateur when deciding if they are ready to go pro?
Man, I usually don't let my fighters go pro unless in kickboxing or Muay Thai. I usually don't let them go pro unless they have 15, 20 fights. And then what I do is before I even let them consider that, I take them to spar some top notch, fighters to kind of see how they're going to be around it with them. And then amateur boxing, I always tell them, I always like to see 70, 60 to 70 bouts as an amateur. When they're starting young, then I kind of see, like Piper wise, time she's 18, just imagine how many fights she's going to have underneath her belt. She's 18. She's 19-7 right now. You
Wow.
know, and then we went to Vegas. We went to Vegas a couple of months ago. Competed. Kind of got rigged, but that happens when you go to a hometown
Where were you?
in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah, I know. I'm here. I'm Viva Las Vegas. What promotion was it?
Guillermo, what promotion was that we fought in Vegas? Richard Steele. Richard Steele.
Oh, Richard Steele. All right. I just did a USA boxing commentary gig for Fights of Fury 11, I do believe, the other day. I was wondering, because it was a couple months ago, I was wondering if it was the same promotion. And I did the commentary, and it just, because I'm old, I forgot about it already. It
Yeah.
happens. It happens.
Yeah, it
All
was
right.
it was so it was good, but we it's lesson learned. We can't sit there and fight the battle. We come back with a loss, or just I like I said, we don't consider it as a loss. Learning experience. Like I tell my fighters, when you're fighting in the ring, you have 3 rounds. So the very first round, what matters,
Mhm.
how you perform. If you give that fight up in the first round, you got 2 rounds left to make it up.
Yep.
But if you win that first round, then you got 2 more rounds or at least one to make it up that you got the decision.
Mhm.
But he's everybody has a dog until they get in the ring.
Yeah, well, I have it over here. There's the Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and you can't see it, but the quote is of course one of his favorite quotes. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, and I and
Exactly.
I and I feel like the first time a kid gets punched in the face, they have two choices: fight or flight. And,
Right.
and and you will find out what they're made of right then and there. And you know what? You don't have to be a fighter to get in a gym.
No.
Getting in a gym just makes you a better person overall, mentally, physically, and you know what? You make friends. There's a community in your gym. So you know what? If you're at home thinking to yourself, "Well, I don't want to be a fighter, but I kind of am interested in it," well, get off your butt and get into a gym because it will benefit you.
Well, it benefits you in a lot of ways. A lot of people go to the gym to work out, and then if you go to Planet Fitness, like you go and work out by yourself, you're not getting that drive. You're like, I just don't want to push myself. Or you come here and you're going to get pushed for one. Like I've got about 20 students that just do it for just the fun of it, to lose weight, stay in shape, learn how to fight. The parents put them in here for self defense, learning how to protect yourselves and, discipline and manners and all that. So that's what I take pride. I'm all about helping the community and helping the kids get off the streets and provide something for them. You know what I mean? your educate number one thing too about me is your education is the number one thing.
Mm.
School. I tell all of them I hate school. Why you hate school? What's your goal in life? Well, I want to be a firefighter. Well, I want to be a cop. Well, you got to go to school for that.
Hmm.
Nothing's gave to you, and if it's gave to you, then you didn't earn it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't understand that most police officers have college degrees.
Yeah.
So whatever you're trying to do, you got to pay attention in school, and you know what, and then you can come out and make your body and your mind extra strong because you have that other base. And you know what, a lot of the things that they'll learn in school discipline wise will help them in combat fighting. They just don't realize it yet.
Absolutely.
So well, I'm really excited for you guys on May 10th, the fight night. Talk a little bit about the card. How long will it be? And I do believe it will be available on millions.co right here. You'll be able to watch the pay per view. And that's going to be exciting. How many fights do you have lined up?
I think we have 20.
Well, there he is.
23 fights. 25, 25
Wow.
fights.
I am glad I'm not commentating that. That's gonna take a little bit, but it's gonna be one heck of a night of fights. It's happening Saturday, May 10th. It's fight night at the House of Best Kept Secrets Boxing Gym. Now, it's not over quite yet. Not over quite yet. Before we get to the last segment, are there any sponsors that you have for the event that you'd like to thank? Anybody out there that you need to give some thanks to?
We gotta give a big thanks to Bill Wesley, the city commissioner, and then we are the state commission, and then Shine Like a Diamond Auto Detailing, um, and then Exact Tinting, Window Tinting is sponsoring, and Dave's Body Shop sponsoring,
Let's go, Dave.
and EC Woods Properties.
All right. That's hey, you guys got some sponsors going. You love to hear it because somebody's got to pay the bills to keep the lights on. And now it's time for 5 questions. We're gonna go 5 questions with Coach Raymond Diaz. Coach, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's 5 questions for you. And it is brought to you by Newhouse. If you're sitting in a gaming chair right now, you're not doing yourself justice. For the best in home decor and office decor, go to newhouse.com. Use code Logan Radio Rocks. It's going to save you a bunch of that do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Yeah. And you'll be able to find that link in the comments or right below, depending on what platform you're watching on. All right, let's get into it. It's time for 5 questions. Numero uno, because I've been in a gym and I know that musty smell. Tell me, what is the worst thing to have to clean in the gym?
Worst thing I had to clean that in the gym. I would say the bathroom after everybody goes to the bathroom.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. I saw you just look over at somebody like, yeah, I'm talking about you right now.
Yeah,
I
Guillermo.
saw that. I saw that side-eyed look right there. No Taco Bell night and then using the toilets, all right? Just
Yeah,
settle down
right.
over there. All right, question number 2. In your humble opinion, and obviously educated opinion as well, who do you think has been the best fighter to come in through that gym and train over at House of Best Kept Secrets Boxing Gym?
Piper.
Yeah, Piper. I did some. I did do some due diligence on young Piper, and she is definitely one to be trifled with. I wouldn't want to get into a ring with her. And look, put a 10-year-old against a 46-year-old, and I'm telling you, she wins each and every single time. Each and
Yeah,
every single time.
she's man. I tell you that she's just a kid that, you get a lot of people coming in and out of the gym. They sometimes you kind of look at them and say, they might last a 1, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If that Piper comes in, she's ready to train. She's giving 110%. She's a motivator. She tries to help others. Um, she comes in and does what she needs to do.
And stays consistent with it. And that's a
Yes.
huge thing. You got to be consistent with it. All right. Number 3 of 5 questions. What do you think is the best form of music to train to?
I like a little bit of like street training rock. Rock I think is good for getting your blood flowing and stuff and all that. Kind of some Rocky Balboa. You
Yeah,
know,
there you go.
getting your blood flow and stuff. I like rock more than I do anything. Like someone come in here and play some Latino music. I like Latino music because it's good for your footwork and stuff.
Hmm.
If you know how to salsa, you can use salsa into your box work.
Hmm.
You know.
That's good stuff. I like that. And I actually can salsa, but I'm not going to do it right now. I'm not going to do it right now because
Hey,
you can't see the feet, so it don't matter. All
we
right.
can hey, we can watch the hiss move.
Yeah, well,
So yep, there you go, there you go. Yep, there you go. Good
oh, I
footwork,
got
good
it.
footwork.
I got it, baby. I got it. Oh, yeah. All right. Anyways, that somebody's going to make a clip out of that. That's going to be terrible. Well, terrible for me at least. All right. Question number 4 or 5 questions. I know in the gym there's a bunch of different signs that are probably have motivational sentences on them. You may even have one of those posters of a cat just hanging on it. It says, hang on. I don't know. But what is your mantra? When people come in, besides you're a champion, because I know that's the first thing you tell everybody, what is your mantra day in and day out for these kids?
Man, just discipline. I want these kids to understand that when they come in here, we care for them. You know what I mean? We want to make sure that their life revolves around us. You know what I mean? We want to make sure that when they leave here, they're understanding what we want from them. A good life, good, them growing up to be something in life, good career, whatever. Respect your mom, your grades and stuff. I tell all of them, if you have homework, come here and do homework. Don't sit around and do something and not be nobody. You know, we got some kids that get in trouble with the law set outside, and sometimes you can't help a lot of them. You can only do what you can. But my main focus is when they come in is just explaining them to, push yourself hard. Um, be somebody if they want to be, and just work. Give 110% when you walk through here.
Yeah, that's good for everybody. Giving 110% at anything that you do is never bad advice. And the last question of 5 questions is, what makes a good fighter great?
I think what makes a good fighter great is when they come in here, and they give everything they got, learning every day, listening, um, just coming in and just focusing on what they need to do to better themselves every day. No coaches, none of us know everything. Like, I don't believe in people say masters and stuff. I think as a learning experience every day, no matter if you did it for 20 or 30 years, you're still learning every day that you walk on the mats or you walk into a gym. So I always tell them to stay focused and learn every single day what they're doing to make themselves better.
What's the biggest lesson? We're done with 5 questions, but for our own edification at this point, what's the biggest lesson teaching these kids has taught you?
Teaching these kids has taught me is, you know, me be more respectful to others on the outside. Learning how to talk to kids, which I have kids, but learning how to talk to kids and learning how to develop a relationship with them, relationship with their parents, making sure that they understand that they're comfortable with being here. Because, it takes a lot from a parent to leave their kids here with the coach or with the, owners or anybody like that. I wouldn't be self conscious, if I had a 5-year old, just leave them there by herself. So I think that I just want them to understand that when they're coming here, they're safe. They're gonna understand a lot. Like, that's what I always look at myself as, just being more reliable around kids and just showing respect towards everybody.
You know what? Respect is always a good thing, and everybody needs to learn it, know it, and use it. And I love that about you and your gym. This is Coach Raymond Diaz from, of course, the House of the Best Kept Secrets Boxing Gym. And they have fight night Saturday night, May 10th, and you'll be able to check it out right here on millions.co. Coach, I thank you for being here. I thank everybody at home for being here. This has been another episode of the Logan Summit Show. I've got one more interview today coming up in just a couple hours, so sit tight. We'll get to that in just a little bit. In the meantime, be good to yourself and be kind to others. Pay it forward, play it forward. Rock like a party star, party like a rock star. Smile strong and laugh loud. Last but not least, please like, follow, and subscribe because you always know I'll be back with more to throw down. And, Coach, as you already know, everybody loves a good fight. So we'll
Yes,
see you
sir.
next time. Hey,
Thank you,
Coach,
sir. Appreciate you.
thank you for being here.
Yes,
Good
sir.
luck on Saturday night and take care.
Yes, sir. Thank you.